Hey guys, good morning to you. People have been sending me copies of pages from the TBI case file. Very much appreciated, especially the ones I've talked about and asked about so much. Buford's unsigned statement. Then the other night, I don't think that video's out yet. I don't think it comes out till this evening on Sheila's channel, but we discuss on there about a statement of Jim Moffett's, and I question on there. It's off the news channel, and I questioned. I said, is it Moffett's statement, or is it a statement like Warren Jones put out there on Buford Pusser? Is it just a bunch of words on a page with no signature, no date, no witness? And it turns out that that's exactly what it is. For those of you that haven't seen this one page here, I'm just going to start going over one of these pages at a time on Fred's page, because it's going to be too lengthy with this case file as big as it is to point out the discrepancies. The witness, Jim Moffett, stated that Buford was taking payoffs from the clubs and whiskey operations in the county, and that Buford would meet up with several women in the county, and that Buford would use Moffett's vehicle. Guys, this is somebody jealous of Buford Pusser. I imagine this is written just like Buford's statement by Warren Jones. It's just a statement. It's just written out like in statement form. But can you imagine a man working for you for 6 years as your chief deputy, not just deputy, your chief deputy, your main confidant, your main go-to guy? Are you going to have somebody serving as your chief deputy that's not honest with you, that's not a friend to you, that's not trustworthy? And this statement starts out, this supposed statement starts out like Jim Moffett just came running to Warren Jones. Yeah, Buford's taking payoffs from clubs and whiskey operations in the county. He's meeting up with all these women out in the county, and he even uses my vehicle to do it in. Can you imagine that? I can't. I can't imagine Jim Moffett doing this, and especially in a manner such as this, just spurting it out there, and he's not even asking a question. He's not even putting a question form in there. Jim, can you tell me anything about Buford? Jim, what do you know about Buford taking payoffs? Jim, and so forth. He just puts down the witness, Jim Moffett. Now, if you guys want to believe all this, that's up to you. I'm going to put it out there. Everybody can believe. Guys, I'm going to quit having hard feelings with people over this stuff. I didn't know Buford's not a hero of mine. And like I was telling the guy earlier, it's not about Buford. I'm not even taking up for Buford. This is taking up for any of us. This could be any of us, guys. It just happens to be Buford Pusser because he's got the name and somebody's wanting to steal his glory. But no matter what the reason is, there's people out there that will make up stories on you and run you down for no reason whatsoever. They don't have to have an excuse. I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to go by hearsay. I don't want to go by rumors. I don't want to, you'll hear me every now and then. You'll hear me speculate. But I try to keep it to a minimum and try to keep it within reason. But let's go on. Moffett stated that he knew Buford and Buford's father, Carl, lied to FBI or TBI Special Agent Warren Jones. He just knew. See, he's taking up for Warren Jones here. That's why we know Warren Jones is writing this statement. He's putting his own name out there. He's putting his own information out. Hardly ever went on an important call at night or any other time without taking Moffett with him. Do you guys believe that? Do you believe the sheriff of the county, as tough as Buford Pusser was, he sure went on Hamilton's call by himself? He went on several calls that's famous by himself. That's how he got shot and stabbed and different things. He was by himself when all those things happened. So this is written in the history by what appears to be Mr. former FBI fingerprint taker that had to leave his job. For what reason, we don't know for sure, but we don't think he left voluntarily. Let's put it like that. He left the FBI to go to the TBI. I don't think so. Not voluntarily. But he says he hardly ever went on a call by himself. Anybody that's ever worked in a rural county, in a sheriff's department, you're usually by yourself. You work the county. There's not enough deputies to... This is the counties I've ever worked in, like people say, little small counties. And, well, I didn't work in small counties. They were rather large counties. But you're still out there by yourself a lot of time, or you're on one side of the county and the other deputies on the other side and so forth. So you go on calls by yourself. I don't think Buford Pusser had a problem going on calls by himself. And with Jim Moffett, or not Jim, but Warren Jones, if this is his statement here, if he's the one that wrote this, it just tells me all the more that he was jealous of Buford Pusser. He's a lot like Mr. Elam. He's jealous. He can't do it like this, and he doesn't like Buford doing it. Buford, I don't think Buford had to wait on backup. 6'6", 300 pounds. Didn't even carry a gun for his first years in as sheriff. Carried a stick. Mofett stated that where the first shooting took place at the bridge at New Hope, it was impossible for two cars to pass simultaneously. See, guys, how people write things into existence? Nobody said they passed on the bridge. I think that bridge was used as just a landmark. Well, it was down there towards the bridge. I'll tell you where I think it happened more at. I think it happened on that straight stretch coming up on the bridge. That half-a-mile stretch down through there. You could definitely get beside of a vehicle there. By the time they got to the bridge, they probably backed off, but that's where, when Buford looked back up from laying over in the seat, he probably saw the bridge, and that's what he recalled. If he said the bridge at all, guys. But it was used as a landmark, not that he passed on the bridge. Again, we don't have Buford Pusser's statement, just like this right here is not Jim Moffett's statement. This is something that somebody's typed up in third person. See there? Moffett stated, Moffett stated, Moffett claimed, Moffett also described. Wouldn't you want Moffett's signature at the bottom after you transcribed it? Wouldn't you want Moffett to sign this and date it and it be witness? So it would be in history forevermore, so Moffett couldn't change his story down the road? We don't think Moffett ever seen this. Moffett's never read this statement. He didn't know none of this had been written. This is from Warren Jones, in my opinion. Moffett claimed that he personally picked up double handfuls of Pauline's brains from a side ditch and questioned that if she had been shot inside the car, there would have been no brains. No way to get her brains from inside the car to the ditch, outside. She was shot outside the car, which contradicted Buford's statement. Again, we don't have Buford's statement. He's never wrote a statement. And this is not Moffett's statement. First of all, in all the wrecks I've worked in all my life, one thing I've never picked up would be brain matter. 2 handfuls of brain matter. And I'm going to explain that to you in a minute. First of all, you'll get a shovel or you'll get something and do away with it. Put it in a trash bag, but you don't pick it up with your hands. You don't pick up 2 handfuls of brain matter. And I'll tell you why they didn't do it, because they didn't even pick up the side of her head. They didn't pick up the front temporal plate of her skull that Dennis Hathcock says he saw in the ditch. They didn't even get that and put it with her body so it could be autopsied someday. They threw that away somewhere, discarded it, or left it there. There would have been no way for the brains to get outside. Really? No way. You take a 30-06 or a 30-30 or a 30 caliber, shoot somebody in the head. You don't see that glass out on the other side, the passenger glass on her side. That's when they were driving down the road. They were driving down the road. That's when they shot her in the side of the head, and it took the bullet, and it took her skull, and no doubt some of the brain, probably about a handful of her brain matter with that bullet. With the force of that bullet going through, it's going to take it with it, suck it right with it. Moffett also described Pauline as being very dirty when he saw her, and that he had knowledge that Buford had beaten up Pauline sometime before she was killed. Now, guys, this is his best friend. He's going to run out and tell this guy that Moffett, that Buford beat her up. But let's go back to the dirty clothes. See, Sheila and another person that made a comment on her page had talked about the clothes. Where is her clothes? Because that's one thing Sheila asked. If he took her out of the car to kill her, or took her out of the car at all, it's a morning. There's a morning dew down there. The grass and dirt is wet or damp. She would have had dirt, grime, mud on her. Where's those clothes at? Where's those shoes at? Where are they? Nowhere to be found, guys. Nowhere to be found. The TBI has lost them. Moving on. Said she had gone to District Attorney Terry Abernathy in reference to getting a divorce. Well, that should be easy enough to prove. Somewhere in this case file, somebody should run by a statement from Terry Abernathy. Now, if it's a statement like this, that just means that Jones was efficient in following up on his own statements, and he would write one statement and go to another and write it like somebody else. So unless it's signed and dated and witnessed, we can't believe it neither, but it'd be nice to know. Doesn't mean that Buford killed his wife, but it would support the fact that she was looking for a divorce. I guess after they got back from visiting her parents and going on vacation, maybe she was thinking about a divorce, I imagine. See, guys, it just don't add up when you start putting all the facts that people do know with all the rumors or all these fake statements like this. This is what confused everybody. I can see how the general public would get confused, but I can't see how the TBI or any kind of law enforcement agency, I can't see. This is why they didn't want the FBI included. Statements like this is exactly why Mr. Roush didn't want to involve the FBI, because the FBI would have not have gone with these statements. The FBI would have said, guys, that's nothing more than this man has written this up himself. There's no signature, there's no date, there's nothing. This man is, and then they would have probably done a background check on Mr. Warren Jones, and they would have seen where he was at one time worked for the FBI in the fingerprint department, not as a special agent, in the fingerprint department, and something happened. Why, and we still don't know, but why was Warren Jones let go from the FBI's fingerprint department? Why? How did that happen? We don't know. But the FBI would have. Had they been called in to assist on this investigation now, they would have investigated Warren Jones, and they would have known. And maybe that's why the TBI didn't want to involve the FBI or the ATF. Mofett claimed that he knew Buford carried a .30 caliber carbine in his trunk of his car, but that the rifle was not in Buford's trunk when he looked inside of it. Mofett claimed that he asked Carl Pusser where the .30 caliber carbine was, and Carl Pusser told him that Buford had sold it a couple of days before the incident. Okay, did we follow up? Maybe there's another written form in here somewhere where this guy's a one-man show. I'm just going to tell you, this guy's a one-man show, but maybe somebody followed up and they can tell us who Buford sold his .30 caliber to. Who did Buford sell his .30 caliber to? Because if you'll look at the report we just done, the video, Buford Pusser called up the TBI and said, hey, got all these rumors going around here. Would you care to take my carbine and have it test fired and all that so we can put a stop to these rumors? Oh, but wait a minute. Mr. Warren here says that Buford sold his .30 caliber carbine. That's what his dad said. Wonder where his dad's statement's at. Wonder where Carl Pusser's signed, dated, witnessed statement is at that says that. Guys, I've called this a dog and pony show. I hate to do that, but this is a dog and pony show. If you ever seen a criminal investigation in your life that is a dog and pony show, this is it. I cannot believe, and I'm not talking about all of you guys. I'm not putting down everybody in the TBI. I actually wish there'd be one or two whistleblowers come out there and actually go ahead and retire. And actually, you could write a book. You could have the bestseller, because just to tell the truth and let people see what was the motivation behind Mr. Roush and Mr. Davison, other than popularity, other than name, notoriety, fame, fortune, and notoriety. There's nothing else. But maybe one day there'll be a smart TBI agent that says, hey, I'm going to come forward. I'll whistleblow, or I'll go ahead and retire and write a book. It's the bestseller, guys, from some of you guys that's involved, some of you guys that's in there that's got firsthand knowledge to this. You can really, you'd have both sides, the naysayers and the fans. You would have them, because everybody would be curious to know the truth. Everybody wants the truth. Deep down, they want the truth, and we got to have it with proof. And the only way to get that is through a TBI agent that's working there that knows about this. And they're there. Mofett stated that he carried TBI Special Agent Warren Jones to Memphis to see. Now, is Warren Jones, is he writing in third party here for him too? Is he putting his name in here? Carried Special Agent Warren Jones to Memphis to see Buford in the hospital. And when Moffett walked in, Buford put his arms around Moffett's neck and said, my Lord, Jim, what have I done? Moffett provided that when Buford saw TBI agent, Special Agent Warren Jones enter the room, Buford did not say another word. Moffett stated that he believed that Buford killed Pauline. Boy, that's a mighty fine statement there, guys. That's it. That is it in a nutshell. His best friend is chief deputy, and he believes that he killed his wife, but yet, daggone, no signature. I forgot to get him to sign this. I forgot to put a date on it. I forgot to have it witnessed. We got it right there. He tells us right there he killed his wife. But daggone, I forgot to get him to sign it. If you guys believe this, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona. Now, if you believe that is Jim Moffett's statement, I ain't got no care for you. I don't know what to tell you. Because this is not a Buford Pusser sympathizer, Buford Pusser fan. I'm not taking up for Buford Pusser because he's a hero. I'm taking up for Buford Pusser because he's dead and he can't take up for himself. I'm taking up for Jim Moffett right here. I'm taking up for Jim Moffett right here, and I'm taking up for Carl Pusser. Anybody that's in these statements that this man has added their name to a statement falsely, saying that they said one thing or another, say it. Now, I'm going to go down here to my notes and see if we missed anything. No date, no time, no signatures. It doesn't even say who these witnesses were. They spoken? Were they verbal? And somebody went and transcribed them? If they were written, then where's the written copy at? If Moffett wrote this statement out and gave it to Warren Jones, then that written copy should be stapled to the back of this, to the back of his hard copy right there. If it was put on a video or audio, then they just transcribed it from there and they would be a tape somewhere. There's not. I can't emphasize it enough without just boring you to death. So what a total joke. The TBI would put such a thing out. Guys, they've lost evidence. They've lost Buford Pusser's file. I'll show you in another video. They've lost his file. They're out here running around trying to find the file. They finally, I think, recovered it in 1983. You talk about Keystone Cops. This is it. And all they done by standing up on that stage and trying to get fame and fortune and name notoriety is really show other people and other agencies what not to be like. If you ever want, don't forget the Keystone Cops. You all can forget the old joke about the Keystone Cops. Now all you got to say is TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, because these guys topped the Keystone Cops, if that's possible. We've all heard jokes over the years. Keystone Cops, Keystone Cops. Well, TBI. They lost a car into evidence. They've lost clothing. They've lost blood samples. They've lost shell casings. They've lost bullet projectiles. They've lost an entire case. The only thing they happen to have is a couple of pictures that was mostly out of books. People had already put into books or they wouldn't have them. And a statement or statements that one TBI agent has typed up and put down as statement of this one, statement of that one. That's what all he done. And people says, oh, well, it must be true. He carries a badge. Well, he carried a badge as an FBI fingerprinter too, but he lost that job. What did he do? We want to know about Buford Pusser. We want to know about everything else. Let's find out why Warren Jones was fired from the FBI. Let's find out why he was sent down the road. Let's find out if he quit. Did he just up and quit? Did he leave a job like the FBI to go to the TBI? I don't think so. I could be wrong. I always say I could be wrong. Then Jim was crooked as Buford. Now he's got Jim here as crooked as Buford, because if Jim knew that Buford killed his wife and Warren Jones didn't take this before a grand jury, Warren Jones is as crooked as Buford and Jim Moffett is as crooked as Buford. They all have to be crooked, because why, if this is true, why wasn't Mofett taken before a grand jury and testified against Buford? Why didn't Warren Jones take this before a grand jury? Why wasn't there charges? This is plenty. Ask Mr. Davison. He'll tell you, heck yeah, I can get an indictment on that. I guarantee you he could walk this statement in there with Mr. Moffett with him and let Mr. Moffett back it up and say, yep, that's my statement. I said it. I believe it. Here's what happened. My Lord, they give him an indictment. So why didn't they, guys? If this is Warren Jones's true statement from Jim Moffett, why didn't he present it to somebody? Why are we just coming up on it 58 years later? Does that make you wonder? I told you, not all cops are honest. Not all prosecutors are honest. I keep telling you, someday I'm going to tell you a story. I'll make a whole video one day and you'll understand more about it. Jim was crooked as Buford. And Warren Jones was as crooked as both of them, because he never brought no charges on nobody. Why didn't the TBI bring charges, statements like this? Old Jim just spills his guts right off the bat. That's incredible. Just start taking a statement. Oh, yeah, I'm going to tell you all about Buford. Buford's crook. Buford's a friends and chief deputy, but spills his guts. Oh, Lord, watch out. One officer uses it. Yeah, watch out. He thought it was funny, Jones put in his statement there, that Buford even uses Moffat's car. I don't guess Jones ever used Sloan's car, or Agent Sloan ever used his. When one of them's getting service, when one of them's got a flat, when one of them's broke down, when one of them's got court and the other one don't. Nah. Yeah, that's so unusual that one officer would use another officer's cruiser. Wow. Wonder if Jones ever used the other car. Moffett knew Carl and Buford lied to TBI, Special Agent Warren. Now, this is Special Agent Warren typing up this report. But he's already writing in third party for Buford. Then he writes it for Carl, because Carl says he sold the gun. But yet, so far, we've not seen where he followed up on the gun to see where Buford sold the gun, who he sold the gun to. But wait a minute. He couldn't have sold the gun because he gave that gun to TBI agent John Sloan. And he sent it off and had it tested, and tests come back. They didn't come back inconclusive. They come back that this is not one of the guns that was used to fire any of those rounds. Huh. That Buford never went on a night call without Moffett. If you guys believe that, as tough as Buford Pusser was, you're wrong. They don't make an officer. You can't be a police officer and be afraid to go on a call by yourself. You might as well hang it up. That don't happen. One thing about cops, the majority of cops, is they have the guts to go out and do the job. Some's got more than others. Buford had more than most, but he didn't need backup to go take a call. That was proven when he went to Hamilton's house. That was proven when he got stabbed. That was proven when he got shot 3 times. So anybody that would believe that is a jealous man right there. A jealous little man. Warren Jones was a jealous little man. No way to get 2 cars on the bridge. We don't think they was firing while they were on the bridge. We think that bridge was used as a landmarker. Don't pay no attention to what are in these so-called statements. This is something Warren Jones wrote up, in my opinion. Warren Jones wrote them up. That is not the gospel. That is not what happened. Bridge was just used as a landmark, either before the bridge or even after the bridge. Nobody says they passed, and Buford sure didn't say it, on the bridge. Picked up double handfuls of brains. Nobody picks up people's brains with their hands. It's pretty gory. Nobody picks up 2 handfuls of brains. They didn't even pick up her scalp and put with her body so they could be buried with her, so they could autopsy it one day and fill in that little hole. That's like a jigsaw puzzle, missing a piece of puzzle right there. I wish they did have it. Might have helped the medical examiners even more, but who picks that up? They didn't even take the trouble to pick up the right temporal plate of her skull. That was the left side, shot to the head, blew out the window. Guys, if you want to know how them brains, what little bit was probably out there, they were stuck to the skull. That went with the skull out the window with the pressure. When they come up beside of her car, they done shot her in the back of the head or vice versa. Several shooters. Could have been shot in the back and the side at the same time. Who knows? When they shot her in the left side of the head there, and that bullet went out the right temporal plate and took that piece of skull with it, the hair and some of the brain also went with that bullet through that window and into that ditch line. Don't believe everything you read. 2 handfuls. 2 handfuls are just some brain matter that was stuck to the skull. Maybe a spoonful. Nobody's ever heard of people exaggerating. This man's writing a statement up for Moffett. He can say anything he wants. Yeah, Moffett said there was a bucket full. He had a whole coal bucket full of brains out there. Yeah, he can write anything he wants to in these statements. Guys, just because the TBI, and especially the TBI, anything you read that's written by the TBI from this day forward, you should really should be curious about it. Because if this is the way they train their officers, if this is what their integrity and character and honesty consist of, they don't have much. I hope the rest of them don't model themselves after this agent here. Pauline was dirty. Okay, where's the clothes? Oh, forgot. They lost them. They lost the clothes. That would prove that she was on the outside of the vehicle, wouldn't it? Don't you think if the clothes had dirt on them and it would have proved that she was on the outside of the vehicle, don't you think Warren Jones would have kept those? That would definitely be used against Buford. Wonder how they got lost. Wonder why nobody kept those. Carl says Buford sold the gun. So we should have a signed statement of that, right, guys? There should be a signed statement of Carl, dated, transcribed. You're not going to see that. You might see something like we're looking here at Buford's, like we're looking here at Moffett's. you might see something like this, that Mr. Warren Jones, TBI, former fired FBI fingerprint person, had written up, until we find out differently, because I've been told that he was let go from the TBI, from the FBI rather, fingerprint department. So, you know, since everybody goes on rumors, I guess that's allowed, since we can use rumors and opinions and speculation. I guess a person can. The sad thing is one day when Mr. Davison and Mr. Roush is long gone, and Mike Elam and these people start making rumors and innuendos and speculating and different things on them, and their families trying to figure out why. Why is this going on? Why is these people saying this for? What? That's not true. Well, you reap what you sow. Nothing but bullcrap. Only bad cop here is Special Agent Warren Jones. The only bad cop, guys, that I've seen in this whole investigation of Buford Pusser so far. Now, brings to mind, since Ricky Plunk had possession of a possible stolen gun and even possibly the murder weapon, one of the murder weapons, and I still believe it is now. I believe it is. They don't have nothing to compare it to because they've lost the evidence. I wish they did. Not that gun come from Buford, but we would have known that it definitely come from P.D. Plunk. They can say anything they want to. Mike Elam and Ricky Plunk can say that it come from Buford, short of Buford's DNA being on it or something like that. That gun came from P.D. Plunk to Ricky Plunk. That's as far as we know that it came from, other than stolen from the military by O'Neill Mofett. That gun is a murder weapon, I believe. I believe that's why they had it hid all these years, not only because it's stolen, but it's also part of that, and P.D. Plunk knew it. And I believe, in my heart, but that don't prove nothing. You can't prove nothing with your heart. You got to have evidence. They have no evidence because they've lost the casings. Had they had them casings to compare that gun to, I have a feeling that P.D. Plunk, it would have went back that he was involved in that ambush that day. Excuse me. My Lord, what have I done? Well, Jones says that when they walked in the emergency room, the hospital room, that Buford had told Mofett, I got to sneeze again, guys, said, my Lord, what have I done? Well, he could have meant, my Lord, what have I done? Why would I have taken her with me for? Or he could have meant, my Lord, what have I done? You know, so it doesn't matter. We don't know that Buford said any of this. We don't know that Mofett told this to Jones. This is written in the history, guys. This is nothing but some comments that was written on that so-called paper to make it look like it was an official report. That's not an official report. That is something that Warren Jones wrote up as a statement to fit his narrative, or what it was, the rest of the story written in the history, no doubt, with no signature. Sure, we believe every word of it, exposing Warren Jones' FBI employment. We'd like to know, I would, about Warren Jones' FBI employment history. Why he was let go, when he was let go, how long he worked there. That's what I'd like to know. Now, guys, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start, as they send me these pages, I'm going to do a video, so you may want to tune in to Fred McCoy 40, because this would be where some of these are at, where I can just go over them real slow. We can go over them together. You guys may see something I've missed. You may pick up on something that you want to tell me, or you may pick up on something I've said wrong. I put a disclaimer at the end of these, but if I say anything wrong, it's not intentional. It's not, you know, I heard this morning, I say don't go by rumors and don't go by hearsay, and I say that, but I'm guilty myself. Nobody's perfect, not that, especially me. I heard this morning that, and you know, we've always wondered, I've asked several times, Sheila and I both on her channel, guys, why did Warren Jones and Buford Pusser not get along. It's no secret. Everybody knows they didn't like each other. Why is that? Why didn't they like each other? I heard this morning that Warren Jones, don't know how true it is. Again, it's a rumor. But again, since we're claiming that people are murderers just by rumor only and opinions, I guess we can. I heard this morning that Mr. Jones had a thing for Buford's wife, that he liked Pauline. Now, the person said that there was no proof that they ever had an affair or anything, but that he liked or was struck on Pauline. Now, could that be true? Could it be false? Of course. Could be either one. Could be either one. See, I'm taking up for Buford because Buford's a dead man, and now that Warren Jones is dead, maybe somebody can come to his defense and take up for him. Because, see, I don't have no desire, just on what I've seen so far as a 40-year career police officer, on the inconsistencies and the lies, the deceit that I've seen in his reports, and the way that nothing's signed. I can see that. So I won't be taken up for Warren Jones. I think he's the one that's probably got all the rumors even then, even back in that day. I think he's the one that got the rumors started. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm not even going to charge you for an expert evaluation of my opinion. I'll give mine to you for free. But I do have an opinion. But that was what I heard this morning, that there may have been something going on, and maybe that would make a man. That would make Buford not like him, and that would make him resent Buford, that he's got something that he wants. Don't know if there's any truth to it. Speculating. Using my opinion, telling what I was told, because that's what you're reading in this FBI file. Most of what you're reading is the opinion of Mike Elam and his book, that the TBI has went and put into a report form as if it's a case file on a police investigation, if you can believe that. Guys, this is going to go down in police academies. This will be studied for years and years, decades to come. Mark my words. I'll be dead and gone, but thanks for joining me. Catch you next time.